Well, hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to another chapter working on this guy here. That's our M1A1 Abrams tank by Tamiya. We'll get that intro going and we'll get started. You caught me kind of just working on the tracks here a little bit. I'm painting the rubber pads on each one, and I might as well change the camera now and you can watch me do this, right? Okay. What I'm doing basically, I'm using Tamiya's rubber black, and I'm just doing the pads on this right now. I'm just kind of doing a little bit along here like this, just to get a little bit off the brush, and I'm just doing the tops of the pads. This kit, this particular build is not going to be a super highly realistic build, and so I'm not worried about that too much. And so, as you guys know, this thing is painted orange already, and there ain't no orange Abrams tanks around, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm not going for super realistic on this. I'm just going for a little bit, just a little bit. Now, of course, I'm using a flat brush here that's got fairly stiff bristles, so that there's less chance of me going off of the pads and onto the actual track part. So that's why I've chosen this brush, just to go along the tops like this. I still might go in on the tracks themselves with a little bit of rust, just for that extra little bit of realism, because even tracks that are brand new they're never the bare metal color like this. They're always, the steel on them is always rusted to some degree, and that's just the way it is. That's life. Life gives you rust. More, oops, throw my brush around. The reason why I'm dragging it along like this, get some of the extra paint off the brush to reduce the chance that I flood the thing and have the paint run down. You might notice I am brushing in the direction of that the tracks would move, so that if, just in case we get any kind of brush strokes that are remaining, they're going to be in the direction that the tracks are or would be moving in real life. And yeah, it's basically the point. A little more. Just going along nice and quick. I've already done the other track, so that's already finished. This one we're just about done. The last 6 or 7 treads, or rubber pads, whatever you want to call them. There we go. Okay, so gonna let that dry. I'm gonna clean off my brush, and we will continue on another part of the build. I'm just going to put this over here, out of my way, set this down over here, let that dry, and we will clean up the brush. Now, you guys saw in the last episode I got the black stripes, everything all painted on there. And And so she's all just waiting for me to finish up on her. I did take some panel liner, Tamiya's brown panel liner, and went around the thing in all the little nooks and crannies. I didn't want to use black panel liner, it's a little bit too much of a contrast. Here's our upper hull here. I did use Tamiya's black panel liner in along the grills. I'll change this camera here again. So in the grills here, I did the black panel liner, then cleaned them up off the top, so you still get to see the grates on there. But everywhere else I did brown, just to outline the highlights and everything like that, all the different pieces. And some brown down in the cracks on all the different panels and all that fun stuff, right? Basically just highlighting of the little highlights and details all around different little bolts and hinges and stuff like that, and all around in these parts here, in this little hatch, all that good stuff, right? Just did that. So I also did some brown panel liner in all my wheels to dirty them up a little bit. Again, I didn't want to do black, I just did brown, just to dirty it up. But I do have to do some detailing now on our mine plow. I see I got a little bit of panel liner here that I don't really want, so I want to clean that up. Big blotch. I must have touched it with the edge of the brush. So I use my white spirits on a Q-tip. Let me just wipe this off here. There we go. Clean that up a little bit. That's better. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I just went around a whole bunch of places with the white spirit. Clean it up. So what I want to do is I want to do a little bit of silver to replicate some paint chipping. So I'm going to be using LP48 sparkling silver. This is the most silveriest silver that Tamiya makes. I have a bunch of different silvers from them, but even what they're calling chrome, their chrome is not really as silver as this. It's just, I've spray painted the lid, so that's why this is so shiny. Because Tamiya doesn't do a good job of replicating the colors on their lids like Mr. Color does. So that's why I spray paint it. Anyway, their chrome silver, the X11, really does have a lot of metal flake in it, but it just doesn't look as shiny silver as this stuff. But anyway, I do want to do a little bit of dry brushing on some spots just to replicate a little bit of paint chipping. So I got my paper towel handy, got my flat brush. This has got a bit of a jagged edge on it. I've done that on purpose. So I dip it in the silver, dab it on here, dry it off a little bit. And I want to do just on our edge. And that wasn't enough. I'm actually going to have to dip it in the paint. This is pretty thin on here, so just do that. I want to do the bottom edge on here. Where this would have scraped on the ground and taken some of the paint off. I actually want to do around quite a few of the edges on this. This goes into the dirt and everything like that and gets dirty, but you know, maybe they haven't used it for this purpose in a while, so it's been cleaned, but you know, it's just kind of going over some of the harsh edges, you know. Everywhere on the edges. On the hinges, joints, the pulleys, everything. everywhere that I think maybe it would come in contact with something. Now that the brush is really dry, I can really get in there. And go everywhere on this. Just to add a little bit of metallic to it. Okay, I think that's good enough. I don't think I need much more on the bottom here. Bottom is not going to be seen very much, right? So it's mainly the top, and I just wanted to do a little bit around there. These little skid things, they go on the bottom too, so I should do something like this on those too. A little bit of scraping, there we go, that's good. Yeah, the paint has been chipped off. Now the other thing we need to do is just on our little cogs, since this brush is already got paint on it, I might as well just use this, just on the tips of these cogs, where they come in contact, constant contact with the tracks, right? And they're gonna get polished nice and silver just from the nature of being in contact with the tracks all the time. Kind of like that. Okay, that's done. We're going to let this sit for a minute while I work on this one. There we go. Okay, now get this side. You know, part of my initial things is, you know, the whole thing about this tank being orange, very unrealistic color, makes it toy-like, but you know, still there's a part of me wants to make it as real looking as possible, even though this thing looks like a big orange pumpkin. Now this one I'm only going to do the insides of them because you're never going to see this part. So why paint it, right? I suppose there is a chance it's visible on the back if you really scrutinize the back of the tank. you know, I'm building this for my dad because he wanted an orange tank on his shelf. It's just, he wants something with a lot of color, and he liked the bright orange idea. So, so I agreed to give him an orange tank. There we go. But I knew just right off the start, an orange tank is going to look like just a toy sitting on the shelf. And that's why I went on my little internet search, did a Google search, orange tank, and did find that one picture online. And so, yeah, I was happy that at least at some point, somewhere, somebody painted their tank orange. There we go. Okay. That's all done. Clean up my brush. All right, brush is all clean. So with that done, we kind of have to go back because we pretty much went through the whole book and we pretty much have everything assembled, but we've got to go back and trace our steps back to the beginning. Step 1, of course, is the mine plow and all that stuff and putting those on. Step 4, we got our wheels. Step 5, we're installing the wheels. So let's put our wheels on the lower hull. Got this here. And like I said before, we've got all our wheels. Now, we do have a few wheels that are a little bit different from the rest. So I need to determine which ones they are. So I gotta flip these over. A lot that are the same, but then we've got two wheels. We've got obviously our drive sprockets, but we've got two wheels that, like this guy. He's got a different little tab on him. And where is his friend? There's his brother right there. These two are unique. These two go on the very front. They're the idler wheels. Idler wheels go on the very front here. Of course, with our polycaps, they go in there and they spin. Not that that's really going to do us any good. There we go. So our two idler wheels are in. And then we've got all our road wheels that go on. You just press them on. Like that. Work along on the other side. There we go. I'm going to do the drive sprockets last. So some of these spin really freely. A few of them are a little tight, but it doesn't matter really. We're not putting this together to be able to roll it around, right? That's not our purpose. So the drive sprockets just go on here like this, but in order to put the chain on, I want to use the drive sprockets as my tensioner. When I say chain, I mean tracks. Now, I need to determine which direction the tracks go, because there's definitely a directional pattern on this, and if that goes like this or like this, that I'm not sure. I believe it was page 11 we have to refer to track installation. There's a note at the front that mentions it. They show it here. It looks like, based on their drawings, that our tread pattern is supposed to go, if you want to imagine these as going to a point, okay? So that it goes like this and like that. So they're like this in that direction, right? Kind of like that. Our points are supposed to be going over the top to the front. So this direction like this, okay? Like that. Not like this. That's backwards, okay? So you want it like this, okay? Oops. So we'll just kind of drape this over like this. Now remember our attachment points where we attach them? We put that little, heated up my screwdriver, that point there, right there, that little, doesn't look too great, right? Doesn't look very good. It's got kind of smudges and damage on it. That's going to go right up in the top in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to hold it by that and do this. And put it on our tracks and just put it over the wheels. Kind of like this. Okay. Now take your drive sprocket. Pull that up out of here. Put him in there. Put him in just like this. And that way we can kind of stretch it and get it over, stretch this down over like that. Pull that up, get the teeth in there, in that wheel. I might not be able to do it this way. I'm going to do it with the idler wheel instead. Pull the idler wheel off. Okay, do the same on this side. We're going to put our drive sprocket on first. We're going to do it the opposite way. There we go. Okay, so where's our little smudge? Right here. Get it on our idler wheel first. Get that cogged in there nicely. There we go. Get him up there at the front. Okay. Pull this off, get that in there. And then pull it till it's on the shaft. There we go. Just pull this down, get him in where he needs to be. There we go. And now we can push our wheel on, and there we go. And we have our track installed. Just like that. Now, one thing I don't like, this is the one thing that sucks about rubber tracks, is they don't hang, right? This should be hanging down and actually touching onto our little idler wheel there. This should be down like this. Okay? It should be like that. It should be weighted down, not just floating up in the air. The tracks are never so tight that there's never so much tension in the tracks that it does that, right? And so I'm actually happy that I did the insides of these, because you can see the teeth. Those should be polished, nice steel color like that. So, and I just put the track on backwards. After all that, I put the track on backwards. After all that, I went and put the track on backwards. And I felt a little crack in my wheel. My wheel came apart. I'm just going to use some extra thin on this. Get that glued back together. Okay. put him down. I'm going to turn my track around the correct direction. Get this back onto our cog. There we go. And we're going to use the other wheel. As you can see, it still can be a little bit of a challenge even with rubber tracks to get it all on there. Gonna stretch them a little bit. Put that in there. You in there. Push you down. There you go. There we go. We're back installed. And the correct direction. Okay, just like that. Now, as far as the tracks going down like this, you got a couple of options. Because of the big skirts that hang down, you don't really see it. If I put this down over here, you might not have to worry about it at all. It might not matter to you whether it actually fits, actually looks correct or not, because you don't really see the top of the track anyway, right? You can look under there, you can sort of see the track under there, but it's really, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it much at all. So you could just say, you know what, who cares? So it's going straight up in the air like that. Really doesn't matter at all because you're not going to see it. So who really cares, right? And that's fine, you can leave it like that. But if you're a real stickler, you could maybe take a piece of sprue or something like that, or and push the track down, and you could glue a piece of sprue like right here above the track and hold it, and hold that track down, right? You could drill a hole here, put a little pin through or something like that, and stick that through so the track is being held down. And of course, because it's on the top side of the track, underneath the skirt, you'll never see it, right? Another option, you could put a little bit of CA glue on here, a little bit of crazy glue or something, and then glue the track down to that wheel. That's another option, right? Whatever can work for you, whatever's easiest for you, you can do that, right? So anyway, let's move on to this side. Let's get our other track. Correct direction. Find our little link spot. It's right here, our little nasty spot right there. And he's going to go up in the middle, so let's go there. Let's get this cogged in correctly. There we go. Let's go a little bit further down here. There we go. Okay. Of course, with me being it's a weird thing being left-handed because I do a lot of things with my right hand. Get that pulled a little bit tight. Line that up in there, just so it's in there. There we go. Pull this down over the wheel. There we go. And then push, done. And we've got the correct direction on both sides, just like that. Wheels are in, it's cogged in good. There we go. Now you could, if it does roll, right? But we're not here to play with it. Okay. Done. our wheels and our tracks are on. That's done. So let's go back through the book. This stuff is all done. We're going to put our hull together now. Upper and lower hulls are finally going to meet. So, at least for the last time anyway. One thing I was thinking of is not even gluing these two together, just so that I always have the option of taking it apart. But as I look at this, you can see that gap right in there. That's supposed to be nice and tight up in there, right? There's a gap right in here. I can put my knife blade through. Yoink, right there. I should not be able to do that. There should not be that gap there. That's supposed to be nice and tight up against that. And I really want to glue it like this. I really don't know. I'm on the fence about it because it doesn't really matter. It's not a big focus on the tank. At the same time, I don't know if my OCD is going to let me get away with it. You know what? It's okay. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. Okay? So there we go. So, upper and lower hull is done, put together nicely. Now we have our plow mount. Okay? They're saying to tape it on here at the bottom. I don't know why they want it taped, because they don't mention taking the tape off. They don't mention anywhere else taking the tape off. Like by the time we get to here, we're not taking the tape off. So what's going on? The one thing I do need to do, I think I want to have it done before I install it, is put our little skids on it, our little skis. Doesn't matter which one's left or right, but they go onto these little points here, which you can see I've taken the paint off of this point here, and they got to go on like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape away a little bit of the paint on this in here, on this side. Okay, and then we got to do the paint on this side, on this one. So the reason I'm taking the paint off is just to help the glue, just because I know I've got like 3-4 layers of orange paint on these things, and that's gonna just cause an unnecessary challenge for the glue to work. So why do that, you know? If I can help the glue to do its job in melting the plastic together, why not? So it just goes on right there like that. Hold it for a sec, let the glue do its thing. There we go. That's that side done. Okay. And we'll do the same with this one. Go. Just hold that for a second or 5. Let that get in there. There we go. So our skis are on. All right. All right. So this thing gets attached underneath the bottom of the hull here. Basically, where you have this thing sticking up, that's going right on the edge there. So let's untangle my hydraulic hose. It's kind of curvy. Yeah, I have a curvy hose. And it's going to sit just like this. And that's where this guy sits, like that. And that's where I drop it and try and break things apart. Okay. He sits like this. Just like that. Okay. So I'm going to use some extra thin, like they said. They said to tape it. I don't really want to tape it. I want it glued on. I just need to make sure I've got it centered where it's supposed to go. I might use some tape just to hold it temporarily. Let's get a piece of tape ready here. How about that? Let's get a piece of tape ready. And I'll just put it along there. But I'll get it ready because I want to get glue on there first. I'll use my extra thin. Okay. I'm going to hold it down. And we'll put some glue in there. And there. The back edge. On there. Okay. Now I'll use my tape just to hold it down so it doesn't go anywhere on me. I want a good hold on this thing. All right. So I've got glue on this bar here and along this back, so that should be good enough to hold this thing in place. So now we just need to kind of wait. So I'm just gonna, I don't want to rest it on that piece, so I'll just let it sit like that for a minute. And while that's drying, we'll look at what's next in the build. So this is in place now. We already have everything assembled for it. Obviously, putting it all in. Of course, now we've got the chains and everything. I'm going to do that later. The chains I'm going to do off camera. I'm going to do that for when I'm taking my pictures. So next we've got our turret piece there, obviously all assembled because our turret is here, all done, right? We got all our pieces in the turret except our window piece for the turret, our little periscope. Okay. Remember, I did not put in. Actually, I did put in the glass. I did put the glass in. That's why I masked this off before painting, because there's actually glass in there. I got the glass in there, so I don't have to do that. When I was taking the masking tape off, I was thinking, okay, I got to put the glass in there, but then I just realized I don't have to because it's already done. Yeah. Okay. So looking at the turret, we've got everything except our cables. A4, I need to paint those. Let's move this guy out of the way so I can do this. A4, I need my cables. And you know what I've gone and done? In my haste of getting rid of all the extra sprues, I've gotten rid of my A tree. No, I didn't. I didn't. I thought I did. I thought I got rid of it. But no, here we go. A4's right on there. But I gotta paint these. So I'm gonna paint them with some gunmetal. I gotta paint them with some gunmetal. Get them that nice metal look to them. Metal tow cables. Where'd my brush go? Okay. These guys need some love. Need some gun love. Gunmetal love. Make sure you do all sides, because you never know what's going to be visible and what's not. We're almost done, guys. It's just these little bits. Oh, for a second there I thought this cable's broken. Actually, I think this cable was broken. Was this the one that was broken out of the box back in part 1? One of these cables was broken right out of the box. I opened the box and it's right here, and I believe it's this one. It wants to really bend and flex right there at that point. I think this is the broken one, which is not a big deal. Okay, so that's done. Next one. Yeah, it looks a little funky right in that spot there, so I think that is definitely the broken one. I think, guys, this is going to be the final episode, because there's really not much more to assemble on this thing. It's just these little tow cables and little bits that just go on top of the turret, really, just like stowage containers, ammo containers, a spare wheel goes on the top there. Just a couple of canisters, not any actual installation of anything, right? Or assembly of anything. So these are all kind of optional things. You can put the canisters on, you could leave them off if you want to leave the back of it open. It's up to you. 100% up to you. 100% guarantee. Okay. So, another thing I'm not going to be doing with this is putting all the dirt and everything on it like I normally do on all my tanks. I don't think, as much as it adds to the realism, because tanks get dirty and they fling mud up on themselves all the time, there's always a whole bunch of mud that goes up on the back of these, right? Obviously, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not doing the dirt like I normally do. So there's a cable, and to me this paint is so awesome. It's already dry. Let's get this one off of here. I think this one's going to break in half. Yep. Breaking in half is okay. Paint's still a little sticky. Where'd my glue go? So just to make it a little easier on myself, hold that for a few seconds. There we go. I go, there we go, and then it lets go. That's wonderful. Of course, it's stuck to my finger right now. Okay, let that sit. We'll grab the other cable. There we go. Now this guy, he just goes on the side of the turret. Along here. There's a little indent right here and right here, and that's your guide as to where it actually sits. Okay, there's a little pin right there. Now they say to bend it in the instructions. They say bend it a little bit. They say go like this. They show bending it. Because it's supposed to follow the contour of the turret. Like this. Okay, there's my extra thin. So that's where the tow cable, it's not a tow cable, but it's a cable anyway. That's where that goes. Set it down like this. How's my broken one doing here? You gonna stay together for me? As long as I didn't put them together backwards, it should be okay. And of course I did. So we're going to put this guy together separately on the hull. With this like that. Then this one. Like that. There we go. So with the glue holding it together and in place, you're never really going to know that that was actually broken at some point. because it's going to be held on there. There we go. And our other cable's installed. All right, that's that. So that leaves us with really nothing more to do. This page is done now. We flip over. We've got our guns, our machine guns, so we can put those on top. Let's get our turret back here. I keep saying we got nothing more, but then I keep finding extra things to do. Our two guns, I already have them painted and they're sitting over here. We got our main gun. It's supposed to go right here, like that. So let's get some glue on his little tab here. And he goes in right here. Hold that for a sec. Okay, and then we've got our other machine gun, this guy here, and he goes over here in this little spot right there. Like that. Just making sure he's pushed down all the way into that hole. There we go. Okay. There's the machine guns. Anything else on this page? I don't think so. We've got our cables, we've got the machine guns in, everything else is on. The rack is on the back. We flip over and we've got our stowage ammunition boxes, okay? And we have our stowage cases, okay? The storage cases, I don't think I'm going to put them on there. And then they show how to put in the key, that little wire that comes in a little bag. This guy here. Okay, I'll do that later. And then they show the storage cases go here on the sides if you want to put them on. And our ammo boxes go on the very back. They hang literally on the back of our rack. So where did I put them? I have them underneath here. So here's an ammo box. I did paint them up. Okay. There's no definitive front or back on them, and based on that picture, they just want you to just glue it to the back of the thing like this, and just have it sitting there like that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I could do that. I see on the back here we've got four little holes, or at that right angle, and you can see them, 4 holes there, but there's no tab or anything for these to go in. There's really no, just nothing to say, hey, this is where they're supposed to go. It's literally just glue them on and leave them on there like this, and that's it. You know what, I can do that. I'm going to do that. As I'm debating this and everything like that, why not? We'll glue those on and we'll call it done. Okay, let's get these out from underneath our tank. So think I want to have the lid, the very top of the lid here, just hanging on there like this. So it looks like our contact point is going to be along the top and right along here. That. Like that. Okay, there's one. The railing is a little bit flimsy, so be a little bit careful when you're trying to attach these. Can't push too hard on it. Just going to rest it on there like that. Yeah, see? See what I mean? Okay, next one. I have to hold it for a sec. All right, one more. This one doesn't really want to hold on. These middle ones don't, they're really resisting. Like, just go on there. Stay in your home. There we go. Our ammo canisters are on. Oh, I wish I could just hold this thing up like this until they cure properly, but it's okay. I'm going to add a little more on there. Just for some added measure to make sure they stay. I want them to stay. Okay. I think we can take the tape off of our mine plow. I think we can remove the tape on this. And she should stay, in theory, stay on her own. Yes, she stays. Our hydraulic hose needs to go into our little hole here that I pre-drilled. Like that. And let's see if I can just pull it through. There we go. I'm not going to bother with it. I'm going to leave it like this, even though it's sticking up. That's fine. I don't care. Although technically it should, you know, the hydraulic hose is going to be heavy. It should just lay down. But the fact that this thing's rubber and it's just the way it is. Okay. Put this on. Line up our tabs. It's always a bit hard for me to line these up. There we go, we're lined up. And our tank is done. That's it. As far as the assembly goes, guys, that is it. We're finished. Done and done. Ta-da, we have our orange and black Abrams tank. Finished. So I think my dad's gonna like the finished product, and I hope you guys like it too. I know that's kind of weird, orange tank, who does that, right? But my dad wanted orange, but I didn't want to do just plain whole thing as orange. My gun here needs to be put up properly. Yeah, I want to do a little bit of detailing up here too. This is not exactly the way it should look. It looks a little off. A little bit of detail. I will take some pictures and put it up on my Instagram, just like I do with all my builds, right? We'll do that. We'll get that done, and we're going to work on our next project. Next project being A10 Thunderbolt. That's going to be next. So anyway, guys, I do want to ask that you hit the like button and also hit subscribe also if you haven't. Down there somewhere is a subscribe button. I do appreciate that a lot, and it helps my channel grow and gets me out there. And so I appreciate that, guys. And thank you for your comments. And yeah, we're going to leave that for that. Leave that for that. That makes sense, right? Anyway, thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for all the support. And we'll see you all in the next one.